According to Fortune, approximately 8 million African Americans left the workforce in 2021. And I know you might be saying, Colette, but wasn't that due to the pandemic? Partially. We know that African Americans are overrepresented in services industries such as hospitality, overrepresented in retail, and also as first responders. And these industries were devastated and haven't fully recovered from the pandemic. So the pandemic does explain why these people initially left the workforce. What it doesn't explain is why they have not returned, or if they have returned, why have they left again? Hi, sis. My name is Colette, and I created this channel as a safe space with you in mind. I help Black women to embrace the new changes in their lives with purpose and joy by pursuing resilience, practicing self leadership, and by pivoting towards entrepreneurship. If anything I said resonates with you, welcome to the community. Love to have you. So at this time, I encourage you to grab a piece of paper, pen or pencil, something to write with, or your tablet, or whatever you use to take notes. Get comfortable. We're going to talk. Today, I am going to discuss 13 reasons Black women are joining the Great Resignation and leaving their jobs. I did quite a bit of research on this topic. I read a number of articles and looked at a couple of videos. And while some of them reference African Americans in general, for the purposes of this video, I will be dealing and speaking specifically about African American women. And I'm not going to go into the details of each article or name the article or the video that I'm referring to. What I will say is that the Black women who are joining the Great Resignation and leaving their jobs is diverse and it runs the gamut. For example, it's intergenerational. So you have baby boomers leaving the workforce. You have Gen Xers like myself leaving the workforce. You have millennials leaving the workforce. You have even some Gen Zs leaving the workforce. This means that women in their 60s, 50s, 40s, 30s, all the way to the 20s, they're leaving. They work in government, they work in education. I mean, they work in private industry, in public industry, IT, legal, medical fields. And these sisters, they represent the entire socioeconomic range. They include individuals who are minimum wage earners all the way up to six-figure earners. Okay, so again, I've included the links in the description box below. Um, like I said, I read and looked at quite a bit of information regarding why African American women are leaving. So let's get to it. Why are Black women quitting their jobs? I've developed a list of 13 reasons. I know there's more. Okay, there's more, and they're not in any particular order. So the first reason is the lack of childcare. Now, this is kind of related to the pandemic. As we know, even before the pandemic, quality daycare was hard to find. Quality, I should say, affordable daycare, hard to find. So, as an extended family culture, African Americans, a lot of us working moms, we rely on relatives to provide childcare, whether it's our moms or our aunts, our cousins, siblings. And during the pandemic, we were the hardest hit community. So many women, they lost their childcare. Not only did they lose their relatives, they lost their childcare providers. So a lot of them cannot go back to the workforce because they don't have childcare. Number two, work-life balance. This is self-explanatory, so I'm not going to get into it, but work-life balance. We want to be able to do something besides spending every waking day at work, preparing for work, going to work, or leaving work. We want balance. Okay. So, number three, put up three fingers, hiring discrimination. Yes, this is still a thing. And this is self explanatory. So, I won't go into it. But after trying over and over and over again to get a job or to get promoted within a job you already have and not getting hired or promoted due to hiring discrimination, some of us are getting tired of it and they're leaving the workforce, you know. Number four, feeling undervalued. And this could look like not being recognized for hard work you've done. I've been in situations where everybody on the team, I've been on project teams where everybody on the team was acknowledged. I mean by name, you know. And it's like, okay, wait a minute now. I think I was there, but you know, or if you do something above and beyond, you get it was a team effort, you know. So people are getting tired of that. They're getting tired of being undervalued, you know. They really are. Okay. Number five, being underpaid. There's a huge wage gap still. It still exists. For example, Black women still earn 37% less than their white male peers. And I say peers because these are people that they are working with, that they are doing the same job with, that they are fully qualified with. And most of the time, Black women, we're some of the most educated people on the planet. We tend to be more qualified or more educated, but still making 37% less than our white male peers. I think I read somewhere, and I don't remember where, I think it said something like Black women would have to work like 500 and something days in a year to to close the wage disparity between what we make and what our white male counterparts make. Don't quote me on that, but I think it was 500 plus days. Okay. We know it's only 365 days in a year. So there's that. Six, lack of support. This this one is something. So what does lack of support looks like? It looks like no allyship, no mentorship, no sponsorship. Black women tend to show up for everybody. We just do. We tend to be everybody's ride or die. When people need something done, they know if they call Black women, we're going to get it done. Unfortunately, this is not always reciprocated. When we need an ally or some support in the workplace and other places, but I'm talking about the workplace now, we look around. It's like, where'd everybody go? A lot of times we're alone. And I have been in that position more than once. More than once. I've also seen how African American women are managed versus being mentored. So you say, what does that look like? Well, what it looks like, somebody taking a person under their tutelage, okay, to mentor them and groom them and help them develop uh, professionally, right? It's showing them the ropes. On the reverse side, what I've seen for Black women is because we don't always have this grooming and we don't always know the ropes, and I'm not necessarily talking about the stuff written down. There is the policies and procedures and then there are the practices. And the two don't always line up. So if you are not always aware of the actual practices, you can make some missteps. And what I've seen and experienced is Black women, when they make these missteps because they didn't know, they're overpunished or harshly punished. And the studies show that. The studies show that. Whereas other groups of people within the workforce, they're mentored. I had a Black woman tell me that she was going to go coach and mentor this person who was doing something that was completely off the chain. Okay. This same Black woman was always quick to write up other Black women for infractions. So I just wanted to give you an example of what that looks like. The other thing I want to add is this stuff is starting early. Some studies have come out recently showing that teenage girls as young as 14, teenage Black girls as young as 14, are way more harshly punished and dealt with and disciplined than their non African American peers for the same type of infractions. Okay, so this is a thing. It exists. It's out there. I'm not going to get into the details about the, you know, some of the things that we do to one another in the workplace. I think I'll do a video on that. But number 6 is the lack of support in the workplace. 7, limited or lack of career advancement, opportunities, or options. As a former training manager and as a leadership development practitioner, I have a master's degree in leadership and organizational studies. So I'm speaking from that sense. I can tell you, okay, that exposure and the opportunity to participate on highly visible projects, developmental opportunities, coaching, and mentoring, as well as sponsorship, are essential to career advancement. Okay? Essential. You may say, why? Well, they're essential because when you participate in developmental opportunities, it helps you to build the muscles that you need to build, and it helps you to discover who you are in your career as it relates to your career and what you need to work on, what are your strengths, what are your developmental areas. But if you don't have those opportunities, it's kind of hard to identify those, and it's hard to prepare for the next step. I already gave you an example about mentoring. Sponsoring, well, sponsors, a lot of them, they serve as gatekeepers, meaning that they are the decision makers within the organization. So they know about opportunities that are coming out. They know about promotions that may be coming out. And they, a lot of times, can help prepare you ahead of time. But if you don't have access to that, as much of the resources that I've looked at and the studies show Black women do not, you're at a huge disadvantage. Now, I know we've all heard about the glass ceiling and how it poses a barrier to women's career advancement. And I'm not, we all know that when they say women, they mean white women. Okay. Now, Black women, we do deal with the glass ceiling, but we deal with other stuff. Okay. I want to talk briefly about a concept you may not be aware of. It's called the glass escalator. The glass escalator is where white men are given access to mentoring, to coaching, to developmental opportunities, to highly visible projects. Okay, they're basically given the keys to the kingdom. Okay, and what does that do? It helps to fast track their career. So many times they have access to information, to knowledge, to uh, mentors and sponsors that Black women just don't have. On the reverse side, there's a phenomenon called firewalls. That's what Black women face in the workplace. So when you say firewalls, or you think about firewalls, think about what firewalls do when you install some antivirus software on your laptop or your computer. What is it designed to do? It's designed to keep things out. That's how firewalls work in organizations as well. And there is a number of studies showing that, excuse me, that Black women, we have firewalls. So we deal with the glass ceiling and the firewalls. And what I can share with you is these firewalls are difficult to penetrate. What it means is you could have the education, you can have the experience, you can have the certifications, you can be willing to work overtime, you can be willing to do extra work. But if the access is denied, it's pretty difficult. So, firewalls, okay? Number 8, burnout. A lot of Black women, and I say words a lot and all that, but I'll just say it. Black women are leaving the workplace because they are burnt out. It's hard going into these spaces where you are criticized for the way you talk, the way you dress. And this is not always vocal, okay? You get the looks, you get the different things, you get the othering. It's difficult. It's draining. The jobs are easy because one thing we know about Black women, we gonna over prepare. We are prepared. We show up, okay, and we look good when we show up, right? But it's a lot. We're carrying a lot of extra stuff, okay, when we're in the workplace. So burnout, and some of it is jobs, the type of jobs. Nurses, teachers. There's a lot of stuff being put on them. First responders. So they're burning out too. But the burnout is serious, okay? Number 9, microaggressions. According to McKinsey and Company's Women in the Workplace 2021 annual report, Black women experience microaggressions more than anybody else. And I know it's true. I know that it's true. I've experienced it for a very long time. Okay. And I'm not going to get into microaggressions because I'm going to do a separate video about that. But what I can tell you is microaggressions is something else. It's related to being othered. A lot of times, a lot of sniper shots being shot at your character. Okay. And it's a he and a ha ha ha, but we know what it's about. Microaggression. Okay. So I'll talk about microaggressions in a separate video. Number 10, toxic work environments. Now, I have mentioned in a number of videos that I left a very toxic work environment. Not only was the environment toxic, but my boss was toxic. The toxicity was horrific. I'll link my video up there and down in the description box. And I'm going to do 2 separate videos, one on how to identify a toxic workplace and 2 on how to identify the characteristics of a toxic boss. Okay. So a lot of Black women are leaving because of toxic workplace. And I'm going to say this. There are some studies that suggest that's why a lot of people are leaving the workplace. Okay, so these employers, they know what's going on. Okay, they know what's going on. They know why people are leaving. Everybody is not there for the money. And I've mentioned before, all money is not good money. Okay, so number 11, racial inequality. I'll say this about that, about racial inequality. Every article, every academic paper, every research report that I've read about racial inequality says it's bad for all people of color. Okay? It's bad. What all of these reports and these articles also say is that it is worse for Black women. Okay? And that's just a fact. That's just a fact. So, no, sis, it is not all in your head. Okay? You are not paranoid. You're not being oversensitive. This is happening. And this is one of the reasons why I'm doing this video, because I want Black women to know these things are happening. Are we victims? I don't believe in calling myself a victim, but we are in many cases targets. And I want us to be aware of what we're dealing with. The whole purpose of my channel is to educate and inform. So, no, sis, you're not making this up. Yeah, what happened did happen. Yes, he or she did say that, and they did do that. Okay, start documenting. I also gave some resources in a prior video where I give you information on how to reach out to somebody or get resources on how to properly document. I'm not going to get into that. That's a whole nother video. But yes, racial inequality is a huge problem. Number 12, I love this one. We quit in the workforce to go into full-time entrepreneurship. Okay? Black women have always been enterprising. We've always done other things. We've always had a side hustle. I remember my grandmother telling me that my great grandmother used to make sausages, and people used to come all from all over to get her sausages. Mama T, that was my great grandmother. She would make sausages, you know. Um, I remember as a child, my mom, in addition to her regular job, she was always doing something on the side, usually selling some type of cosmetics. I think I remember Fashion 222. And always I had ideas of opening up her businesses. I remember looking at her little business cards, and I remember thinking, I'm gonna give me a business card. I remember that. Okay. Black women, we've always, always had a side hustle, and Black men too. But this video is about Black women. Okay. We've always had it. Why? I just told you we make 37% less than our white male counterparts. So a lot of our side hustles are for necessity, okay, to live. Others are to, maybe we have to pay for, a child's field trip, you know. I know I can't tell you how many cookies I bought to support the youngster going on to the field trip. Now, that is why I bought the cookies, and I'm going to stick to that. Okay. So, getting back to Black women going into entrepreneurship, Black women, we are opening up businesses faster than any other segment of the population. Okay. Our businesses have grown by 50%. This is why it's so important that we support one another. If you can, buy things from an African American owned business. A woman, an African American woman owned business, but African Americans in general support one another. And I'm not saying you have to support people who aren't giving, the good service or what have you, but support one another. But I'm so proud of that number 12. Okay. So, number 13, freedom and liberation. Let me say it again for the people in the back. Black women are leaving the workplace to experience freedom and true liberation or personal autonomy. Put another way, we're leaving the workplace for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now we guaranteed that in the Constitution. So some of us have decided I'm gonna do it. Okay, I'm gonna pursue my happiness, my peace of mind. I'm gonna live. Okay. So when people say, what do you do for a living? A lot of black people saying, I'm living. Okay. So there you have it. 13 reasons black women are leaving the workplace. Which one of these reasons was a surprise to you? Drop that in the comments field. And what other reasons would you add to this list? Drop that in the comments field. So this is the third installment of my Black Women Get Out series. Now, I'm not telling you to leave your job. I'm not doing that. And I'm not telling you to stay at a job that's harmful for you. I'm not doing that either. You have to make a decision when you want to say uh, you're ready to leave your job. If you have made a decision to tell your job goodbye, you might want to look at a video that I did. I think it was the last video, and it was called Ready to Leave a Toxic Job. These resources may help. And I'll link that video up in the info card, and I'll also link it in the description box below. Okay? So, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up for me. I would really appreciate it, and share it. This helps me with my YouTube algorithm. If you would like to see more content like this, like the rest of the series, um, consider subscribing to the channel. When you subscribe, make sure to hit that notification bell so that you're notified when I drop new videos, which I try to do twice a week. I'm looking at Tuesdays and Thursdays, might be moving that around, but at this point, I'm looking at Tuesdays and Thursdays. If you have suggestions for me, things that you would like for me to cover, drop that in the comments as well. I read the comments, I respond to the comments. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and just encourage you to think about how you can pursue happiness. It's different for everyone. Either way, me and Harriet, she right there. I think she right there. Well, anyway, you can see her in the background. Me and Harriet will be waiting for you.